Hello and welcome to the DFS_PhD show for today, the 19th of May. Remember, you're good enough, you're strong enough, and gosh darn it, someone's got to win that money. Might as well be us. Not at DFS though, man. Oof. Some real bad ones yesterday. I went 0 for 40 in MMA, or like 1 for 40. Feels like 0 for 40. And I tell you what, I don't know what I'd do anything that different from usual. Obviously, some mistakes were made. But on the plus side, I was paying attention to Pick Six. So we've got a pretty cool Pick Six channel now of dudes who are just all the time hawking overlay. And I'm pretty excited because the overlay here is like Madden Sims. It's like happening all the time in the middle of the day. So people didn't realize there was also a primetime slate or DraftKings didn't price it properly or whatever. And so we were on it all day or like for like 30 minutes ahead of time. We were like, all right, it looks like the fill rates are not the fill rates are going incredibly low for the three picks at 1 o'clock, whatever. Have your three picks ready, guys. So bounced around and combined strategies, right? Because we know that people like to bet on people rather than against people, even when they should be betting against people, right? It's incredibly hilarious that Pick Six is offering you under 52 and a half, under 32 and a half on underdogs. Guys who are going to lose are not going to score 32 and a half. We all know it. So these are slam dunks, and they're not the highest owned things. Like the highest owned things are people like, I think Barboza's going to win or whatever. Somebody going to win. That's what you want to bet on naturally. And it's always the case that you get edged by not doing that, by just doing less, by saying, I think he's going to do bad, bad, bad. That helps you win. Anyway, so it worked out. I don't know if you see, this is Magic is one of the guys who's really good at this and brought this to my attention when I was not going to be there. And anyway, 11 to 1 on a three pick is incredible. It's like 3 to 1 on prize picks. So really excited about that. And it saved my day in terms of because I didn't make any money on the other one. On as always, we're sponsored by PredictionStrike. You can use promo code PhD to get their best deposit match deal. I'm not talking about that because I took Barboza there and lost $10, half a unit on my 2 unit play. It's exactly the proportionality I was expecting if he won. So I guess I was hedging. At that point, I was already up a couple hundred. Like I knew if Barboza lost, I was going to win a bunch of money. So I hedged it in case he won. Okay, so today, here's the rules I got for today, and then let me just start at the top. What is this slate about, right? This slate is about some countervailing forces. So generally, all year long, Tibbs has been the guy, right? The guy who you can count on to run the starters into the ground. But now he's got two questionable starters that are really questionable, like not little bit, it's an old tag. These are injuries that are niggling injuries. You don't come back from a hamstring strain and play 40 minutes. I don't think. I mean, like maybe you do for Tibbs in a game seven. I just don't. I don't see it from OG. They're projecting him for like what was it, 38 minutes or something. And I'm like, I don't know, man. That's not traditionally what happens when you come back from a hammy. So I'm not projecting OG for heavy minutes. It's been like a week. It didn't look good. I don't think they want to push it too much. They want to get the minutes they can, but he's priced from full minutes. I don't, if you guys are going to be 26% OG, I'm going to let you be. And similarly, if these ownerships are right and we got like 3% Precious, we've got like 0% Alec Burks. Tibbs does weird stuff, man. Like he will ride a dude into the ground if he thinks it's working. Like you could get 24 minutes of Alec Burks or Precious, and I don't think anybody would be surprised, right? I mean, like who knows what is in Tibbs's head? You're going to get 48 minutes of Brunson, 48 minutes of DiVincenzo, 48 minutes of shit. Sorry, this is YouTube. I don't know who to expect, man. Like even Hardenstein, they could go small and ride Precious. Myles McBride, I dropped I'm still not doing, since I don't think Josh Hart is full go. I think man, I've had an injury there before. Guys, I couldn't do push-ups for like a month, man. And granted, I'm a 39-year-old man. He's much younger, in incredibly better shape. That's not an area where you get an injury and you're like popping back. That's an area where you're very vulnerable when you have a core injury like that. I mean, best of luck to Josh Hart. He deserves better than this end to a season, but it's the end, and we're just. I mean, for me, the clue is he leaked it to Shams, right? When Underdog is putting the name of the guy in the tweet, that's to distance it from Underdog, right? Normally, Underdog's just like so and so is in, out, questionable, or he's like Shams says this, right? Why is he saying Shams says that? It's because Shams has often reported bad information in the playoffs. I mean, last year's football playoffs specifically, I made money on that specific plot line, and I'm going to make money again in the future because it makes sense that teams would leak information so the other team has to prep for Josh Hart instead of Precious Achiuwa. It's a significantly different a team, right? And so, like, if you want it actually does make sense to lie as a coach in the playoffs. Not about injury status, right? These guys are officially questionable. We don't have a John Tay situation. But that he is questionable at all and like is going to go through any kinds of motions and start probably just for the whole facade. I don't think he does that in a regular season game. I don't think he plays for a week after that. I mean, what does it take to get Josh Hart out of the game for even a few minutes? You saw he wasn't playing well. The reason he's not playing well is because he's actually hurt. And like any reasonable person is going to let me make sure I entered all my 9 o'clock contests. Okay, I did. But yeah, any reasonable person is okay. So I talked about the New York rotation a lot so far. You obviously see my edge. Obviously, I don't think I have 0% Alec Burks. I'll plug in like 1%. I think people will be on that move. He's overpriced, but I mean, what we got one guy, two guy, three guy. Like I think McBride and DiVincenzo, probably Hartenstein and Brunson, and then either Precious or OG or Burks at any given time. And I don't think OG can go more than maybe 24 minutes, maybe 30. Like if you're pushing him, you go 30. That leaves 18 minutes between Precious, who's already playing the backup four. Yeah, because this is the backup three. There's just so few guys in this rotation without Josh Hart like fully available. Anyway, so that's my point of view today, and obviously leads me to a tremendous amount of the remaining players. Besides that, we've got the regular rules. Currently, Precious or Burks gets extended. Knicks center foul trouble. I'm not putting Sims in the rotation. He wasn't in the rotation last game. That's just too speculative. It doesn't seem like edge. I mean, like I don't think, oh wow, if they pull out 8 minutes of Sims, maybe they gain an advantage. Don't think so. Can't make that argument. Conley or NAW. I still am not sure here. Maybe they play them together. Going small for Minnesota, that would be very interesting. They'd never done it all year long. So I mean, you could relax this rule, and that gives you some access to that Minnesota going small. I'm trying to think as I go through my rules, what are the parts of the face space I'm excluding that could get me to a championship, right? Am I excluding $100,000 with this play? Maybe, right? Like I mean, it's possible in the range of outcomes that because Denver's small bench is not awesome. I mean, you could potentially gain an advantage going small because the Minnesota small bench is okay. So playing Conley and NAW at the same time, forcing out more Justin Holiday minutes. That's an advantage for Minnesota. It's in the range of outcomes. So if you wanted to unclick that rule, I'm not against it. I still have my max one of Obi or Isaiah Jackson because they could go small. That's the exact same. And then I have my Myles or Isaiah Jackson fork because that's a foul trouble issue. It's separate. There's a small ball issue and then there's a foul trouble issue. So those are separate rules. Then I have Nembhard or McConnell, and I have max 2 of 3 of Minnesota bigs, and the resulting minutes changes for all these guys. You got to make sure you have 48 minutes of Jokic, right? Jokic's going to play 48 minutes today. I mean, that's what you saw in the second half of the last game. Until it was like blowout time, it was Jokic time. The entire third quarter, the entire first quarter. You're going to see as much Jokic as Jokic can play today. So in that case, you want as much Jokic as you can fit in your lineups. And to me, I think that's like 65% is about where you got to cap it, just because there's a chance that somebody else pops off on the slate, and that's about a third chance to me. So that's what I'm ballparking it at. That guy is probably Brunson, right? He could go off for 60. Nobody would be surprised. And definitely play 48. This is Tibbs, although maybe he's learning some lessons from the number of injuries that are accumulating. I don't know. He's an old man to be learning lessons. As someone who is approaching 40, I will say we're not learning lessons anymore. We're in the exploiting advantages phase, not in the exploring and figuring out new things phase. Although I have been enjoying some of these new things, PredictionStrike and Pick Six have been making me a fair amount of money. And yeah, that's always been a small part of the mix, right? Like every year there's this small thing, like there used to be Monkey Knife Fight would have a bunch of free promotions and we're up a net several thousand and then they're dead. And then, so there's always something new. And even as old man, you need to be ready for that new thing. What are we doing here, though? I haven't sorted this by exposure in a while. I don't want 75% Jaden McDaniels. Sorry. I really do this right after I run the sim, and I haven't always gone through what it's saying here on the screen. I've done the amount of preparation for the yammering. You've heard the yammering. Now we got to look at the results. And no, I don't have 40%. No, I'm like 30% confident in that take. So that's the thing. You have the take, you say the take, and then you feel out. How confident was I in the thing I said? Well, the NAW thing, 30%. He hits his shots. It's more than just regular shooter take. Like, it's not a regular season shooter. The Precious take, pretty confident. I'm happy to go to 30% on that. Seeing how little the field is on Precious today is hilarious, right? Like, I, I, how much did he play in the last game? Wasn't he out there? I mean, I'm not insane. Yeah, he's out there 26 minutes. I mean, like, when Josh Hart left the game, who came into the game? Precious. I mean, like, like, did that happen every time Josh Hart left? Every time? No. Precious was in the game every time. Yes, twice when Josh Hart came out of the game, including early in the first quarter, directly for the painful incident. Precious was the direct replacement for that. So the fact that today y'all are like, oh, yes, Josh Hart, he said he's in, he's going to give it a go. Do not interpret that as Josh Hart is full go, right? That's not correct. So I'm totally on, 30% Precious is fine. If y'all are going to be 3% Precious, that's absolutely insane. You're crazy people. There's not a 3% chance that Josh Hart gets re-injured. Not a 30% chance to me that he's lying about his availability or leaking to Shams just to seem like a cool dude or like a macho man, but he's not really available the same way he says he's available. Yeah, fine. I'll take 10x on Achua because it's my play of the slate. I don't have anything else. Like this is like it's a big mistake. Y'all are making a big mistake if that's accurate projections. So yeah, it's a small slate. I'm obviously going to rerun this a zillion times probably. I mean, I'm going to be at basketball right at lock, so I hope we don't get crazy news like 5 minutes before lock. I'm just going to probably ride this regardless. You know my entire thing. I already have the contest up here. I'll just reshuffle, save, click, click. So yeah, have your streamlined process so that you can do it at basketball, right? Like I've done it in the car before. Like if you have it set up properly. So when the game runs, as soon as when I'm in the car on the way home, practically, because it's a small slate, we don't have to do it right away. You save your projections. Like I download my player projections. I put them on, upload them onto the what's it called? Showdown slate. And then you go to the swap and you click swap from the build screen and it automatically loops in all your current projections. By the way, when you're in Showdown, you then have to go back and reset your ownerships from main slate back to Showdown. Can't have really bad ownerships. That's not good. So make sure when you do that move, you're fine. Anyway, and then you make sure you got your build settings right for your swaps. You have maxed out your number of lineups. You have just the $300. By the way, we learned this the other day. I don't know if I've said it enough. Only $300 on the table still, and you can get unique. Tom won a freaking $100,000 the other day using full salary. Get out of town, man. I was excluding that lineup. I was an idiot that day, so I learned something that day. I learned that you can still get different on a 2-game classic slate without leaving money on the table. So do not, I guess just buy with not leaving money on the table. A certain amount of sharks like myself were excluding that salary, and that was a mistake. Okay, so main slate, I've said most of my takes. What are my chalk busts? Yeah, 40% KCP, fine. Like he's fine, but I don't want to be 40% KCP just because he's out there. He had a good game recently, probably, if it was 40%. I don't know. He's cheap. He will get minutes. That doesn't mean he gets fantasy points. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Excuse me. Hey, bud. One sec. Oh, you're wearing pants. What's up? Hey, come on in, bud. You want to sit here? We're just finishing up the video. And Daddy has a little bit of stuff in his throat from... We have a lot of nice flowers in the house. All right, guys.
Everyone, you can go say hi on the video.
Yeah, come and wave, bud. You're wearing pants. You want to wave to the guys? Can you come say hi? Yeah, right over here. On the. Hey, and welcoming our guests. Our guest.
I don't want to say hi. I want to say something.
What would you like to say?
I want to totally relax with you.
Ah, okay. So I will. Yes, I will give you. Can you wait about 5 minutes or 2 minutes? You go to the seat, and I'll meet you there because I have to tell the boys about Showdown.
Okay, I'll help.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I don't have very many more chalk busts. I guess I don't like 30% Christian Braun either, or yeah, Aaron Gordon. Like, not going to get that much more usage if he soaks up a dunk and a putback dunk, maybe. But like, that's not a guarantee, even in more minutes. So I like these fades I'm seeing here. Nesmith, also not a huge high usage player. You see, I bumped him up even, and I'm still winding up at a fade. That's fine with me. I'm not gonna, not a hill I care about. Now, my leverage plays are the ones I already told you about. I'm playing Infinity Precious. I'm playing a lot of Nembhard. And oh yeah, I didn't mention that, but I have the Nembhard and McConnell fork. So obviously I get some more Nembhard. And by playing any Burks, I'm thinking he might be in the rotation at all because Tibbs is a maniac, and if they're playing from behind, he can shoot threes. He's fine. So yeah, I think that's why he'll be in the rotation. Then on Showdown, with the same projections, rules, etc., you just get to a bunch of the bigs, right? Because we know if they don't get in foul trouble, they will be the optimals. So some Gobert, some Nas, some Cat, some Mike Conley, and probably some Nikhil Alexander Walker in the flex. Yep. Maybe some Nikhil Alexander Walker if you're playing more than 20 in the captain as well. And remember, you're good enough, you're strong enough, and gosh darn it, someone's gonna win that money. Might as well be yes. Leon, would you like to say that? Okay.